one of the really important pieces of Tai Chi is understanding how energy flows through the body. The body has meridians, or energy pathways. They are in a similar vicinity to the veins and to the lymphatic fluid vessels. It has its own channel, and it has fluid that runs through it. They have photographed how the fluid runs through the meridian channel, and that's how information is relayed at the speed of light, through the meridians. The meridians are the 14 basic meridians, run through the body from the floor to the top of the head, back down to the floor again, or out the arms and in the arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace the meridians for you and show you where those meridians are, which you can copy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to interlink them with Danyus seated to standing. So if you've watched a previous video about that, you'll already have that technique underway, which you'll need. And what I'm going to do is link the two together. What I want you to notice at the moment is if you take your hand and try to sweep across your arm, see if you can feel the hairs on your arm without touching your arm, and see if you can notice what that feels like. Okay? We're going to go back and check that again at the end. All right, so the first thing we're going to trace is central and governing. Central runs up the front of the body, comes to the base of the bottom lip, and then it's going to, I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm just going to trace the inside channel, which goes down the center of the body and links up with the tailbone for governing. Governing comes up the back, all the way up over the head, and comes down to the top lip. And I take the opportunity to stop, look into the mirror, and say, I love you. Then I come back through, travel down the center of the body where it hooks up again with central, which comes around from the pubic bone. So we're coming up the front, down the middle, up the back, over the top of the head, to the top lip. Turn your hands, look in the mirror, say, I love you. Come back down the middle, come back up the front. So central, I always do this 3 times. Up the back, governing, and then look in the mirror, I love you. Take that back down, and that's going to match back up to the bottom of central. So now what I'm going to do is add the seated Danyu, seated to standing, and I'm going to do 3 rounds with this. I'm just going to make sure my ankles are behind my knees so that I can get up, and I'm going to fall forward, glide across, and then stand up. And I repeat that. Okay, so now I'm going to trace the pattern that goes on the front side of the body. The stomach meridian starts underneath the cheekbone, so I'm just going to take my hands flat on my face. I'm just going to go around my cheeks, around my eyes, come down the front of the body. I don't have to touch the body, I'm off the body. I go down and out the toes, and then what I'm going to do is come back in, up the center. This is going to come up towards the armpits for spleen, and it comes and finishes on the ribs beside, so stomach and spleen. Then I'm going to take one hand, put it out to the side. The other hand is going to go underneath the arm. I'm going to trace to the end of the pinky finger, come around so I can catch the pinky finger there. I'm going to come all the way across in front of the cheek and finish in front. So that is heart, which goes out to the inside of the pinky finger. Small intestine, outside of the pinky finger, finishes in front of the side of the face. Okay, now I'm going to add the Danyus in again. So what we did is we had 4 meridian patterns we engaged, and this is going to also engage them because as you start to learn your meridians, you can see how the movements in Tai Chi help to stretch, expanding and contracting that meridian line. And it starts to engage everything that's happening. So we're going to balance on the feet and then out. Okay, so now we're going to go down the back side of the body. So the first one is bladder, has 2 channels, so it's a little trickier. We're going to go from between the eyebrows, over the top of the head, down the center of the back all the way down below the cheekbones of your butt. Then you're going to come from your shoulder on either side, down the center of either side, down behind the legs, all the way to the bottom, out the feet at the bottom, and then we're going to take the hands, bring them back in the front, up the front, and then kidney stops right at your collarbone. Okay, so that was bladder and kidney. So we take one hand out, only instead of going to the side this time, I'm going to come to the front, just so it's different. Hand goes underneath. We're going to trace to the middle finger, circulation. Triple warmer is your ring finger, which goes over the shoulder, ring around your ear, corner of your eyebrow. In the front, underneath, circulation, triple warmer over the top, all the way around, corner of the eyebrow. So now we've done the tracings of the back side and the arms, so we add the danyu in. And again, now that you know where bladder is and kidney, you can understand how this pattern starts to stimulate all those energy lines that run through the back of the body and through the arms. And then this comes up and sink. One more. Okay, so now we have gallbladder. That starts at the cheekbones, just in front of the ear. And again, I'm just going to take my whole hand flat there, so I'll catch the end of it. I'm going to go in front of my ear, back to the ear, over the ear, back again. Now I'm going to go down the side of my body, all the way down the side, out the toes, come back in. This one is going to be liver. This one comes in the center, comes towards the armpits, but then comes back around to the front. Okay, gallbladder and liver. So now what I'm going to do is take my hand out. I'm going to focus on my thumb, and I'm just going to cross it over the midline, so it's a little bit different than the last one we did. This goes underneath, all the way to the thumb. Then I'm going to come to the pointer finger. So that was lung. This is large intestine. Pointer finger, trace across the arm, and this goes across the face to the opposite nostril. Okay, so if the other hand comes out, lung to thumb, pointer finger comes around to the opposite nostril. Okay, and we have one more set of danyus. So now that you know how the meridians run along the side of the body, you can get a feel for how you'll be stretching and contracting them as they pass through each of these actions. So it's a great exercise to increase energy, also just to calm the mind and to bring everything in focus. It also helps to make sure all of the muscles are engaged. So one more round. You may notice that you kind of pop right out of the chair now, where it was effort kind of at the beginning. Now it's just a pop right out. Okay, so we have traced all the meridians, the 14 main ones, and we have engaged them by doing the danyus, which is expanding and contracting those energy lines. So now if you take your hand and sweep it across the arm, you may notice that you can actually feel the hairs on your arm from a different distance than the first time. So I can feel the hairs about here. If I go up a little bit higher, if I think about it, I can bring it actually a little bit higher. So I've been able to expand how big the energy is traveling through that line. It's not just a tiny little line because it's electric, it actually expands. Just like a light beam where you would have the light bulb here, but the light expands past that, that's what's happening. And that's what your hands can sense sometimes coming across. You may not have sensed it, but you can know that you have made a difference in the energy field.